Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Kim.
And I'm Brandon.
You know what I really love?
What's that?
Peanut butter.
Really?
I love peanut butter.
I like peanut butter too, but you know there's different types. There's some with a lot of sugar in it and some without.
Yeah, there's natural, creamy, smooth. Sometimes they swirl the jelly inside so you can have peanut butter and jelly in one go.
Yeah. So what my mom would give us as snacks when I was growing up, me and my brother, she would give us celery sticks with peanut butter in it, and that was a yummy snack. Or sometimes it would be peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Those were delicious. I liked them a lot. But as I got older, I didn't really like the sugary peanut butter anymore. I wanted the natural one. But it's so hard to stir.
It really is hard to stir. Well, we're going to find out a lot about peanut butter, probably more than you could ever know about peanut butter, including some fun facts. So let's get into our article, Peanut Butter, a Nutritious Food with a Long History. This is part 1.
Sticky, nutritious, and delicious on bread or in sweets, peanut butter is enjoyed everywhere. But how did this delicious food spread across the world? There can be no peanut butter without peanuts. These legumes are native to South America and date back to around 950 BC. There is evidence that the ancient people of Western South America turned peanuts into paste and combined it with grains to make a special drink. In the 16th century, Portuguese explorers brought peanuts from South America back to Europe. European explorers then introduced peanuts to Asia and Africa. In the 18th century, peanuts were brought from Africa to the American South by slave traders and African slaves.
Okay, as we said, the title of our article is Peanut Butter, a Nutritious Food with a Long History. So we're going to find out a lot of interesting things about peanut butter. But first, the most important question, what's a peanut? Okay, a peanut is this kind of nut that comes in a shell sort of thing, and you can crack it open and eat it, and it's what's used to make peanut butter. Obviously, they grind up the peanuts and they add some sugar, add some oil, mix it all together, and it becomes peanut butter. For example, Amanda snacked on a bowl of peanuts while she watched TV. I like to do this. Garlic peanuts.
I've never had garlic peanuts,
They're
but
good.
I've had a lot of peanuts before that. I think they're delicious. I think it's just one of those snacks that a lot of kids enjoy especially.
Yeah.
But they also put peanuts in a lot of foods. There's peanuts in candy bars. There's peanuts usually with candy things, very sweet things. Even there's that old song, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. There's an old song in America about going to watch a baseball game, and the snack that people like to eat is buy me a pack of Cracker Jacks, and those Cracker Jacks have peanuts in them.
So peanuts are in a lot of stuff, actually.
Yeah, they're very popular. So let's talk about it. Sticky, nutritious, and delicious on bread or in sweets, peanut butter is enjoyed everywhere. But how did this delicious food spread across the world and spread on my bread? Spread on my bread?
Oh, that's so bad. I like it though. All right, there it says there can be no peanut butter without peanuts. These legumes are native to South America and date back to around 950 BC.
Oh. I actually thought they would have been older.
Oh, really? 950 BC wasn't your first guess?
Well, I just honestly thought they would have been made even further in the past, but whatever. But it's interesting to note that they are not truly a nut.
True.
But they are a legume.
So even though there's the word nut in peanut, it's not actually a nut.
Yeah.
So legumes are closer to what?
Actually, peas, like peas in a pod, the green peas.
So like those little green, tiny things that people
Spheres,
eat, that people cook. There's actually, peanuts are related to that and not to nuts. So who named it a peanut? They're just trying to confuse people.
I think it's because it has that kind of harder shell. Then people think, oh, hard shell, it's a nut. And I think that makes it easy for people to understand, but it is confusing. And I like to tell people, it's not a nut, it's a legume.
Oh.
Well, there is evidence that the ancient people of Western South America turned peanuts into paste and combined it with grains to make a special drink.
I don't think drinking peanuts would be the first thing I would do with it.
It would be the second thing I would do.
Oh.
First, I would eat them, then I would turn it into this drink. That sounds lovely.
And that maybe you should have been the inventor of peanuts, or maybe you were in your past life.
Oh, I love it.
Well, in the 16th century, Portuguese explorers brought peanuts from South America back to Europe. European explorers then introduced peanuts to Asia and Africa. So peanuts are really getting around at this point.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, and the Portuguese, they took over a lot of South America at the time, and so that's why they were able to take it away. They didn't just like go there for fun and trade.
Yeah, they went there to find things that they could take things that were valuable, natural resources that they could use. And one of the things they brought was food.
And peanuts.
There you go.
I'm so glad that they brought peanuts to the rest of the world. It's really, no matter how bad they were back then to the people, truly,
at least we got
peanuts out of it. Well, let's keep reading. In the 18th century, peanuts were brought from Africa to the American South by slave traders and African slaves.
Okay, so that's how they ended up in the Americas, okay, from the slave traders and African slaves. So a slave is a kind of arrangement that you have where someone works for you, but you don't pay them. They also don't have any freedom. They can't escape. They're more like a prisoner. This is a part of American history that was quite dark, that we're taught about in school. It was completely wrong and not a good time period at all to be in, especially if you were in this position yourself. An example sentence, in the 1850s, Harriet Tubman helped many slaves escape to Canada through the Underground Railroad. We learn about this in history class. Harriet Tubman was a hero. She helped a lot of slaves that were running away from this horrible situation to escape and find their freedom.
Yeah, it is not just in American history, but slaves have been in history throughout basically the
everywhere.
Last 2,000 or 5,000 years or something. They've been around a long time. It's a long, horrible history of slavery, unfortunately, and I hope one day we can break from that tradition.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But on a high note, it was very funny. A long time ago, my friend's father wanted us to move some dirt piles to his backyard for his garden. And so my friend, he made shirts for us. They were white t-shirts, and we wrote Slave 1, Slave 2, Slave 3, and we were not getting paid for this. We just had to do it. And so we brought those things to back. But it was funny because we were wearing the shirts and we thought, well, we have to do it, but it's funny. Slavery's not funny, but the shirts were funny.
All right, we're going to go on our break. The peanuts have made it to the Americas, and afterward we'll find out what happened to them next.
I ate them.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们这2天的课文是要来看看花生酱的历史。那么 peanut 是花生 ，peanut butter 就是花生酱。你有没有注意到 peanut 这个字里面有 P-E-A-P 豌豆，还有 N-U-T nut 坚果。不过啊，花生并不是坚果哦，它其实是豆类植物。那我们补充一下 ，legume 这个字就可以表达豆类、豆科植物。那老师刚刚用到 sphere 来表达豆类的形状，它是拼作 S-P-H-E-R-E。sphere 是指球体、球形。好，那么课文写到，没有花生就不可能有花生酱嘛。那么花生原产于南美洲，在16世纪，葡萄牙探险家把花生从南美洲带回欧洲，然后欧洲探险家再把它引进亚洲和非洲。在18世纪呢，奴隶贩子和这个非洲奴隶就把花生从非洲带到美国南部了。我们来看单字 slave 就是奴隶，那么 slave trader 就是指我们刚刚说的奴隶贩子，贩卖奴隶的人。好，那我们如果在 slave 后面加上 ry 变成 slavery， 可以表达奴役、奴隶身份或是奴隶制度。那这个段落一个重点，我们进入文法时间。 好，我们来看这个重点，用 no 或是 not 点点点去搭配 without 加名词或动名词，这是用双重否定去强调肯定的句型，表达说没有什么就不怎么样，一定要怎么样才怎么样。举例来说 ，Jerry claimed that he couldn't survive without his phone. Jerry 声称他没有手机就无法存活，没有手机就活不下去了。好，这一回课文中。
Several people helped develop modern peanut butter in the late 19th century. One of them was John Kellogg, who invented a technique for making the spread from raw peanuts. Kellogg advertised his product as a good source of protein for people without teeth. In 1922, the scientist Joseph Rosefield came up with a process for making creamy peanut butter that prevented the oil from separating. Later, he sold his product under the name Skippy.
All right, let's find out what happened to peanuts, Brandon.
Yeah, we're talking about peanuts. I'm very excited. I love eating peanuts. So let's see. It says, several people helped develop modern peanut butter in the late 19th century. One of them was John Kellogg, who invented a technique for making the spread from raw peanuts. Kellogg advertised his product as a good source of protein for people without teeth.
Without teeth.
What?
Without teeth.
Specifically? Okay. Didn't know that. That's a new one for me. Well, it's good for people with teeth too.
I didn't know that either. That's a very interesting fact. Okay.
Okay.
So it was originally developed in that way, and the technique they used was probably very unique for the time. A technique is a way of doing something that's specialized to that thing. So their technique for making peanut butter would be a special way that they grind the peanuts, or a special way they combine it with oil, and that's how they lead to making the peanut butter. For example, my brother has used a number of techniques to improve his memory. People have these techniques to help them remember things when they study. You can use something called a mnemonic device, which can help you remember something when you really need to study or do something for a test.
Yeah, and technique could be used for lots of different subjects and areas. You could have a technique for martial arts, or a
Doing
technique,
yoga or something like
just
that.
anything that you do really could have some kind of technique to it if it's different from other people. But another word that we heard was raw, and that's an adjective, and it just means that something, when we're talking about food, is uncooked. Something uncooked. You could have a raw onion or a raw carrot. It just
Raw
means
meat.
Yeah, raw meat. You just take it straight as it is, and it's raw. You don't do anything to it. But it could be used for other things too. You could have raw footage if someone is taking a film, and that's unaltered, unchanged film. So just anything that's just not changed could be raw. And for example, you should always wash your hands after handling raw chicken, which is very true. There's a lot of bad diseases and bacteria that you can get if you're touching raw meat.
Yeah, so you want to make sure to wash your hands. And we have our third word here, which is advertise. So to advertise is to show people your product or service and to try to convince them to buy it. So this can be done through commercials, through radio advertisements, any way you can reach people through the internet, through word of mouth, to convince them to buy your product. For example, the car was advertised as being able to seat 6 people comfortably. Okay, so 6 people can sit there?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But sometimes things are advertised incorrectly.
Yes.
Then you can say, hey, your advertisement is wrong.
This is not as advertised.
And then you can get something free from them.
I hope so. Okay, the reading continues. In 1922, the scientist Joseph Rosefield came up with a process for making creamy peanut butter that prevented the oil from separating. Later, he sold his product under the name Skippy.
Do you like creamy peanut butter?
I don't. I like chunky.
Me too. Well, I've had Skippy before, and it's a very, very popular brand, but I don't like Skippy very much. I think there's too much sugar in it.
Yeah, the best part is the natural chunky peanut butter. That's the winner in my book.
I agree. The problem is stirring it because they talked about how the oil doesn't separate. In the natural peanut butter, the oil is all at the top and you have to stir it in. But peanut butter is pretty hard to stir.
Too much work for a sandwich. Too much work.
It is.
No.
But I still like it the best.
All right. Well, that's fair enough. It's the most work, but it's the most delicious.
Exactly.
All right. Join us for the next part, and we will have some fun facts for you about peanut butter. So see you then.
好，在19世纪末 ，John Kellogg 他发明一种用生的花生来做成抹酱的方法。那他宣传产品的方式很妙哦，他就说他的产品是给没有牙齿的人来摄取蛋白质良好来源。他有相当明确的主打客群，对不对 ？Brandon 老师刚刚用到 specifically 这个副词来表达确切地、明确地，它就是在这个 specific 后面加上 ally 来构成这个副词。我们看单字 technique 它是指技巧、方法或是技法。那有些人呢，在背东西的时候会使用辅助记忆的方法。这时候 Kim 老师说这个 mnemonic device 就是指记忆术的意思哦 ，mnemonic device。好，那老师们也提到像武术啊、瑜伽等等的技巧，你也可以用 technique 来表达。那我们就补充一下 ，martial arts 就是武术，那么可能不是这样叫。好，在 yoga 就是瑜伽。那么下一个单字 raw 它是形容词，形容生的，就是没有煮过的东西嘛。好，那这个字呢，也可以形容照片、影片，它是原始的、未经处理的。Brandon 老师刚刚就有提到 footage 这个字 ，footage，footage 它表示影片片段，然后还有提到 unaltered。alter 是改变，那么 unaltered 就是形容未经改变的。我们再来看 advertise 这个动词呢，表示为什么来做广告宣传。好，那在1922年，一位科学家就想出一种可以制作滑顺花生酱的这个制成，它可以防止油来分离。后来他就以 Skippy 吉比这个名称来贩售它的产品，大家应该对这个牌子不陌生吧？老师们就刚刚聊到说，他们不太喜欢滑顺口感的花生酱，比较喜欢有颗粒的。那我们补充一下 ，creamy 就是形容柔软滑腻的，那么 chunky 这是形容带有颗粒的。好，这个段落3个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，来看第一个重点是 who 引导关系子句的限定与非限定用法。关系代名词 who 可以引导关系子句去修饰它前面的先行词，那这个先行词必须是人哦。当先行词它是非特定对象，我们的关系子句就是要去限定它的范围，这时候 who 的前面不加逗号，这叫限定用法。举例来说 ，The guy who is sitting next to Kevin is an actor。我说 the guy 你不知道是谁，对不对？然后我后面接了 who is sitting next to Kevin 来表达说是坐在 Kevin 旁边的那个男生，然后 is an actor 表示说他是个演员。好，再来，当先行词是特定对象的话，关系子句就是补充说明这个独一无二的先行词，这时候 who 的前面必须加逗号，也就是说我们把补充的部分呢，把它用逗号隔开就好，这是非限定用法。例如 Dana's brother， 好，这是一个明确的对象哦。我们先假设 Dana 只有这个哥哥 ，Dana's brother 逗号 who is sitting next to Kevin 逗号 is an actor。Dana 的哥哥坐在 Kevin 旁边，他是个演员。好，再来我们看第二个重点是 come up with， 它是表达想到、想出，像是想到某个主意呀、计划等等。举例来说 ，Bradley came up with a crazy idea。Bradley 他想到一个疯狂的点子。第三个重点是动词 prevent， 它表示防止、阻止。prevent somebody or something from 加上动词 ing， 可以表达防止某事物怎么样，阻止某人怎么样。举例来说 ，Don't let fear prevent you from chasing your dreams。别让恐惧阻止你追求梦想哦。好，以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Sticky, nutritious, and delicious on bread or in sweets, peanut butter is enjoyed everywhere. But how did this delicious food spread across the world? There can be no peanut butter without peanuts. These legumes are native to South America and date back to around 950 BC. There is evidence that the ancient people of Western South America turned peanuts into paste and combined it with grains to make a special drink. In the 16th century, Portuguese explorers brought peanuts from South America back to Europe. European explorers then introduced peanuts to Asia and Africa. In the 18th century, peanuts were brought from Africa to the American South by slave traders and African slaves. Several people helped develop modern peanut butter in the late 19th century. One of them was John Kellogg, who invented a technique for making the spread from raw peanuts. Kellogg advertised his product as a good source of protein for people without teeth. In 1922, the scientist Joseph Rosefield came up with a process for making creamy peanut butter that prevented the oil from separating. Later, he sold his product under the name Skippy.
Hello everybody, I'm Shane.
And I'm Jamie.
Today we're playing a game called Word Drop. We each have 3 words or phrases, and we need to work these words or phrases into a conversation as smoothly as possible.
That's right.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I'll begin.
Okay.
Okay. So, I am trying to lose weight. I notice I've been snacking a lot recently, and one of my favorite snacks is a little bit too fattening, but I really love it. It's a peanut. So I eat a lot of peanuts. Do you like peanuts?
Yeah, actually I do. It's kind of funny that you say that though, because some people, I think peanut allergies are the most common type of allergy,
yes.
right? So they can't enjoy peanuts very much. But, you know, I can totally understand about the whole like food, you know, really liking snacking and stuff like that. And I think it's really easy to, you know, be drawn into that, you know, to like always want to snack and eat a lot, because I think, yeah, and so many companies really advertise food to us all the time. Like,
We are constantly being advertised at, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure what we can do as consumers, because we don't want to get fat, right? We want to be healthy. So I really think we need to come up with something to do as consumers. What can we do?
it's hard to say. I think all we can do is just like, you know, have our own, I guess, our own personal decisions. You know, you just, right, you just have to force yourself to like try and eat healthy. Or I guess if you work out enough, I guess, right, you can kind of counteract it, right? But the thing is, yeah, working out is really hard, but I guess there's no gain without pain, right?
Oh, yes, that's a really good one, yeah. Yeah, I think that we really probably need to get a lot of exercise. That's one really good technique. And dieting is another good technique. There's all kinds of techniques to keep yourself healthy and fit.
Right? I agree, yeah. And also I think in terms of food choices, just because you're trying to eat healthy or be healthy doesn't mean you can't have delicious food, right? Even stuff like, let's say you like sushi a lot, right?
I
Maybe,
love sushi.
right, me too. And the rice itself, I guess, isn't that healthy, but the raw fish, it's actually not that bad for you. It's, you know, it has calories, but it's good calories, right?
That's
like,
true.
It has good fats in it.
Yeah, it's like all protein, not much fat, no carbohydrates.
So I think we can still live a good life that's also tasty and healthy.
Right, even if people are advertising at us.
Yes.
Just free will, we can do this.
We can do this.
See you next time.